I'm Francis Roth, the founder of Milky Media. In the last 12 months, Milky has made $2.6 million in profit doing management, consulting, and OnlyFans product development, and we're on track to double that in 2025. This video is for OnlyFans managers who want to build the leanest, most sustainable, and most profitable versions of their agency, and most importantly, have an agency that they actually enjoy owning. OnlyFans management is a very young and rapidly evolving industry with few established best practices. OnlyFans itself has only existed since 2016, and while there isn't much information available given the underground nature of the management agency business, the general consensus among OG agency owners is that the first management agencies didn't begin popping up until early 2019, right before the COVID boom. While all agencies have the same basic business model, drive traffic to a model's page and extract value from subscribers, they have radically different approaches on how they scale their operations. This video is a broad strokes overview of the two basic ways OFMs choose to scale: horizontal and vertical. It's very important that you select the scaling method that best suits your personality, skill set, and temperament, because these two scaling models might as well be entirely different businesses altogether. And if you choose the wrong one, it will hurt both you and your clients in the long run. The difference between horizontal and vertically scaling agencies in simplest terms is quantity versus quality. Horizontally scaling agencies grow using cheap, scalable promotional tactics. You've likely seen countless TikToks and Instagram reels of models lip-syncing or making seductive expressions while doing trending audio. Once a content template is made, these agencies aim to sign as many models as possible and have them follow that template. With automation tools and paid ads, skilled agencies can turn many decent-looking girls into top 1% models, earning $10,000 to $20,000 a month. While this is low relative to top creators, the volume of models that horizontally scaling agencies bring in can rake in millions monthly. In contrast, vertically scaling agencies like Milky focus on a few creators who can earn hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars each month. Instead of using a template, they build each client's personal brand, showcasing their unique talents. This requires more creativity and organic social media traffic. Think of well-known OnlyFans models like Sophie Rain or Camila Araujo. You might already have an idea of which camp you fall into, but there's a bit more to it than those basic differences. I'm going to explain some of the pros and cons of horizontal and vertical scaling agencies and some of the key personality traits that the owners of both types often have to help you figure out which makes sense for your agency. Horizontal scaling focuses on volume and efficiency. Simply put, it's a mechanical approach to OnlyFans management. Here are the pros. 1. Low creative requirements. Horizontal scaling agencies require very little creative thought. Your job is to copy existing trends and simple concepts to build a template that any new model can follow. The only limitation on how big your business can be is how good you are at developing and implementing automation tools or hiring cheap labor to perform repetitive tasks like creating accounts, interacting with fans, and scheduling posts. Then there's automation. When it's done right, horizontal scaling needs few staff beyond management and essential roles. Innovative owners use specialized software and AI tools to scale, and the primary constraint on growth is how many models they can sign. The third is salary models. Models don't need to show much personality for the horizontal scaling model, allowing agencies to sign non-English speakers. This creates a huge win-win for agencies and clients. A model in South America or Eastern Europe will happily accept a flat salary in dollars, which goes much further in their home countries. This means larger margins for agencies and stable income for models. Now for horizontally scaling cons. First, you need a lot of models. The most obvious con is that in order to effectively scale, you need to sign many more models than a vertically scaling agency would to achieve similar results. It might be easier to find regular OnlyFans girls with a potential to earn of $5,000 to $15,000 a month, but a vertically scaling agency will be making 10 to 100 times that amount from a single model. This means that you must either have very strong cold outreach skills and a solid recruiting process, or you need to rely on model marketplaces where model contracts can be purchased or sold to grow your roster. The difficulty doesn't just come from sourcing the models either. You still have to manage and retain them, and doing this for dozens or hundreds of creators is not easy. Another con is that horizontally scaling agencies are oversaturated and undifferentiated. A majority of OF agencies are horizontally scaling. Not only are you competing with other agencies for clients, clients are competing with thousands of other models for attention from prospective subscribers. While in the short to medium term there is still money to be made, the general consensus among top agency owners is that this might not be true for much longer. As with virtually all businesses over time, resources tend to concentrate at the top, and fans are much more willing to pay for access to a top creator than they are for access to random salary models. The last con is low skill and knowledge transference. While this isn't necessarily a con in the context of the OnlyFans management industry, it's important to keep in mind. Since most of the software, tools, and strategies employed by horizontally scaling agencies are unique to OnlyFans, you'll be building a base of skills and knowledge that apply only to OFM. The future of this industry is very uncertain, and while it's an incredible opportunity to make lots of money in the short term, the trade-off is that there may not be very much skill crossover between OFM and whatever you might do in the future. Horizontal scaling operator profile. If you aren't a creative type and prefer a more static, structured approach to life and business, horizontal scaling is probably the way to go. There are clearly defined rules and best practices, although you still have to be flexible and stay ahead of the curve. The recruiting process also tends to be a little bit more impersonal, so if you aren't big on interpersonal relationships, horizontal might be the way to go. Now for the pros of vertically scaling agencies. If you think of horizontal scaling as mass production, like injection molding or bronze casting, where you can quickly produce many identical copies by using molds and machines, vertical scaling is more like sculpting marble. You're working on a single block and you're trying to extract as much performance and detail from that one unique piece. It's slower, it's more intricate, and it's more materially constrained. The first pro of vertical scaling is low startup costs. Since vertical scaling involves mostly organic traffic, there are very few costs associated with starting up. The most primitive form of a vertical scaling agency can be done with no paid tools whatsoever, just good old-fashioned posting and commenting on the social media platforms of your choice. The second pro is faster, easier revenue. When you have a strong creator and a sound strategy, it feels like you own a money printer. My top model can spin up a new Instagram account and hit the 100,000 follower mark inside of 90 days. The amount of organic reach this produces is absurd and compounds on itself. Another pro of vertically scaling agencies is model retention. It's much easier to manage 2 models than it is to manage 50. A smaller roster lets you focus more on each model. By providing a tailored, full-service experience, you increase client loyalty, making models less likely to leave. The last pro of vertical scaling is opportunities outside of OnlyFans. A good vertical agency finds their clients opportunities to monetize outside of OnlyFans, advertising partnerships, affiliation, or even their own products and services. Really, the only limit is your model's talent and your agency's creativity. While OF will almost always be your primary source of income, you can and should leverage the brand you build for your creators to create additional revenue streams. Just make sure that your contract stipulates that you get a cut of all revenue generated by your agency's work and not just OF. Last, there's skill transfer. Since a majority of your job is organic social media promotion, over time, you're going to develop skills and, if you're working with models in person, purchase equipment such as cameras, microphones, and lighting that are highly desirable and transferable to non-OF industries. Every contemporary business wants effective social media marketing, and surprisingly few people are actually any good at it. If you ever decide to pivot out of the OF industry, you'll still take with you everything you learned about organic marketing, content production, and customer psychology, and apply those skills to whatever you do next. Now for vertically scaling cons. First, it's different every time. A blueprint that produces amazing results for one model might produce terrible results for another. You have to take into account much more than just the model's appearance when deciding which content verticals to pursue. Their personality, their skills, their temperament, and their work ethic will all play a huge role in what strategies might be best. This requires you to have a much greater breadth of knowledge. For example, writing and filming scripted comedy is a completely different basket of skills than writing and shooting ASMR or cooking videos. As an operator, it's your responsibility to learn about and master whatever content verticals best suit your client, rather than applying a one-size-fits-all solution. The second con is arguably the largest, and it's all your eggs are in one basket. If a horizontally scaling agency loses a model, it doesn't greatly impact their business because models are pretty interchangeable. But if you have one model and they quit, your business collapses. Vertically scaling agencies must focus on client retention and being indispensable. Have a strict vetting process to ensure that new models are worth your time and money. And also, seek other OF adjacent revenue streams to prevent issues if a model quits. A large part of why Milky offers consulting and product development for OFMs, we've never had a client leave, but if they did, we'd still be in great shape until we find a replacement. The last con is model dependency. Not every model is capable of or willing to reach the top. Some creators are content to work 5 to 10 hours a week, or even less, pumping out thirst traps and OF content. They don't want to be superstars. For vertically scaling agencies, your models need work ethic, talent, and looks, and that is not an easy combination of traits to come by. Because of the effort we put into our clients, Milky only works with creators who are willing to do content creation as a full-time job and who have the skills, appearance, and work ethic to make at least $1 million per year. Otherwise, it really isn't worth the effort. And last, vertically scaling agencies are very creatively demanding. I can't stress enough how important ideas and creative direction are to vertical scaling. If you're not constantly testing new ideas and pushing the envelope, your creator will never reach their maximum earning potential. While eventually you'll find skilled staff to take over some elements of the production process, in the beginning, you might find yourself being the scriptwriter, the cameraman, the video editor, the graphic designer, and so on, which is a lot of responsibility. If you have an especially talented creator who is willing to put the work in, you might be putting out 5 to 10 unique pieces of short-form content a day, in addition to OF content. It's a ton of work, and it's easy to burn out. If you aren't a creative type, you will need a partner or a team who is. And in either case, you'll need to establish standard operating procedures to streamline every step of the production process. Vertical scaling operator profile. If you're more creative, people-oriented, and prefer a dynamic business environment where you're constantly learning new skills and testing new ideas and strategies, vertical scaling is the way to go. While automating and streamlining processes will always be good for reducing workload and growing margins, vertical scaling does not demand anywhere near the degree of technical expertise that horizontal scaling does. However, this requires that you have a very special model from day one, which, if you're starting from zero, likely involves a bit of luck or some really exceptional recruitment skills. To succeed as a vertical agency, you must be willing to truly understand your clients, not just what they can do for you, but their goals and desires and how you can help them achieve them. Deep trust is required on both sides. Your clients have to be able to trust that you are leading them down the right path and providing all the tools they need to be successful. And in return, you must trust your clients to stick with you for the long haul and not quit when they've made their first million. If you have a hard time developing and maintaining interpersonal relationships, this is definitely not the path for you and your agency. That's scaling in a nutshell. Whether you're new to the OFM game or you're a more established agency figuring out the next step in growing your business, I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe. That way you're the first to know when we drop new content. If you'd like to accelerate your business even faster, head to milky.media/agencies and book a call. Whether we end up working together or not, I'm always down to talk shop about the business. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.